morning. Thank you very much for joining us. You are still watching the Arrive Alive this morning. And of course, use the hashtag The Morning Drift throughout this particular show all the way to 10 a.m. We are the heartbeat of the conversation, all about cycling and the facts about cycling you must know. We are trying to see if people then are reconsidering, leaving their vehicles back at home. Heavy traffic, especially now at Kinugi, where there has been a very serious accident. We're still following closely on that, how that is being controlled. The police are on location, the brigade as well, and we're still to find out if of course, the EMIs and EMTs are also there. But of course, Oworotet reiterating on that accident at Kinugi, saying there's a nasty road accident at Kinugi, more than 6 vehicles involved. So there's a lot of traffic right there this morning. Number of casualties yet to be confirmed. Sally Daniels, it's good to see you. How are you? Thank you very much for choosing us. And of course, saying good morning, Anki. Bad potholes on Amboseli Road, which are definitely a road hazard. Napia spares banani expensive. Hey, Kubaya. Of course, Kura Roads is watching, and NTSA Kenya as well. There's an alert there. Amboseli Road doesn't look so good. There is very bad potholes there, and of course saying it's a hazard and spare parts pia ni ngumu kununua. So of course, Edgar Hansa Mwanyahururu, habari yako? It's good to have you tuned. Now, all those who have been thinking of cycling and don't know how to go around it, are not sure if the roads are safe, how they can actually start. Here's Wangui Ngugi joining me live, and to talk about cycling. I'm actually fascinated that you cycled here. It's very cold and it's been drizzling. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much for having me once again. It's been awesome. We've been riding quite a lot since the last time we're here because as I told you, cycling is a part of my lifestyle. And especially coming to town for me, it's not always an easy thing. But I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I'm doing urban design for my master's.
Okay.
And for me, it's very important that the cities are able to integrate, even cyclists. So we should be able to enjoy, because if you're coming to work and if you're just riding and just yourself and your, little things, I think you should be able to just get off from your home, get onto a very safe cycling lane and just ride to work and ride back home.
Yes.
And even if we had children, if we had a cycling lane, they would comfortably go to school, whether with a parent or without a parent. And I mean, the city would become a lot easier. I know we're investing a lot in, wider roads and,
Footbridges.
Footbridges. Well, we need one beautiful cycling lane, that just connects the whole urban area.
Okay.
And I think it would be a lot easier. It takes a bit of courage to be able to do it myself. But I know a lot of people fear because they see a lot of cars buzzing around. But I know for me, it's a necessity. I do not always want to use my car. I have that option. And sometimes I carry my bike in the car. But I want to be able to influence that. We cannot be studying urban design.
All right.
And not putting it into practice.
Okay.
So I think it's very important.
Speaking of which, the fear of am I safe on this particular road, overlapping might not be a very good, thing to think of right now. We're looking at a very serious accident at Kinugi.
Yeah.
And of course, one at Mombasa Road, Apo GM, and one of the causes has been the overlapping. Now, when you're cycling, I want to know from you, what are some of the fears that you've had? Because I think overlapping would be one for me. Yes. I don't know which vehicle is right behind me, where they're going to be coming from.
Yes.
Is it the same concern?
It is a huge concern. And I think that's why for me it's taken not just a year or two to be able to ride to work. It's taken me 10 years. It's taken me 10 years. Of course, probably I must have to say most of the time it's because I would hide behind the car. But then you're stuck behind the car. And this is such an easy distance to work. I could use my bike. And of course, some of those days you wake up and you pick up your bike and you go, you know what, I'm doing this. I'm riding to work, whatever happens. And so with time, we get the courage. And as I told you, you get the courage from moving from, the service lane, which is a bit dangerous because it's very narrow, to the highway, which has a bit of the lanes are much wider.
Okay.
But I think people should not have to go through that fear when you're living in a city that is so modern. And I think the best way to crown a beautiful city is to have beautiful cycling lanes. Functional ones. Functional, because I have to mention on Saturday, I was riding with a new friend. And she was comfortable cycling on the on the cycling lane. But we had to make so many stops. At some point I told her, you know what, let's just try, you know, getting off, because there's so many potholes. There's so many picky-pickies coming through. We kept stopping and going off. There were so many puddles of water. I told her, we will never get to town at this rate. So we just got onto the service lane and we cruised. And by the time we're coming back from the critical mass, she was comfortable on the highway. And she told me, why didn't you tell me this? I told her I had to take you in small bits. You see, for her, it was very quick to graduate to the highway because she's already a very good cyclist. For me, I was on my own. I didn't have anybody to encourage me, so I had to grow gradually onto the highway.
Speaking of which, let's take a look at the critical mass. A great shout out to critical mass. And seeing how people would come in numbers, I did not know there's so many Kenyans with bicycles. Or would you call it? What do you guys call it?
Nairobians.
Nairobians. I mean, what kind of number was that? You guys were both female and male in that.
And children.
And children. Please tell me more about it.
Yes, so there are families that cycle together. And so even during critical mass, people come with their kids. There are different ways of riding with your kids. There's a way you can attach your bicycle to your child's bicycle, or you just ride with them, you know, along. And the way the critical mass is very organized is that the kids and their families, they ride ahead of us. And then we ride behind them, and we cannot overtake them because they're marshals. So it's just quite a very slow ride, but it is very essential because it gives those kids the courage to influence other kids and to invite other kids from school, and it gives them something to talk about. And I think with time, in as much as it might look very slow, but as they influence other kids in school, we will be able to have more riders and more influencers who will be able to influence us to have more cyclists within our city.
Can you tell us more about this critical mass, you know, cycling that happened? Or what was the distance you guys covered? Is it an annual event? Is it, what really happens around critical mass?
It's not even annual. It's better than that. It's every last Saturday of the month. So yeah, you're coming along the next month.
I am hoping.
It's every last Saturday of the month. We meet at Jivanji. There are organizers who I will probably give you their details, and you can invite them to the show. And they will give you more details regarding the organization and everything. But as a rider and as a participant, I've participated now twice, but it is very organized, it's very safe. I even feel I can bring my kids along the next time.
Beautiful.
Yes.
You have been cycling for 10 years?
10 years.
I am looking at that and I'm thinking, is it a sport for you? Can you tell us more about cycling? Most people, especially when we watch them, we see in other countries it could be means of transport. In Kenya, it's only when they want to be fit. But really, what is it about cycling?
For me, it was just hanging out with my kids. They were little at that time, and they kept saying, Mommy, get a bike, Mommy, get a bike. And I go like, I don't know how to ride a bicycle, you know, what am I going to get a bike for? And they're like, no, we're going to teach you. And this is a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're telling me they're going to teach me how to ride a bike. And I'm like, how do you do that? And eventually, I think I was in town and I saw a bicycle shop somewhere, and I just walked in and asked them, how much is a bicycle? I didn't know much about adult bicycles. And I bought an MTB. And they serviced it, and they told me, you're good to ride. And I'm like, good to ride to where? I can't even ride a bicycle. So I took it, got a cab, went home, and I learned from there. I learned in the compound.
You started small.
Started small. And my kids are very happy, you know, they're like, you know, pedal, pedal. And I'm like, you know, I'm stuck to the wall and I'm holding the bike and it's moving and it's crazy. And eventually, after 2 weeks, I learned how to balance the bike. I even went to the, you know, the science of momentum. How do I balance? Yes, it took me 2 weeks.
All right.
And after that, we started riding, you know, around the compound, around the estate. And with time, I got the hang of it.
So then you get to go outside, but you cannot do that in your pajamas or in your sweatpants. I'm looking at safety now. Because for some reason, there is a difference between riding in your compound and now going out on the roads.
And now going out.
What is the reality out there?
Now, the reality is that because, I mean, you're talking about you're a parent with kids and you want to go outside of the gate. That's when we got, everybody had to get a helmet, everybody had to get, you know, when they were little, they even had these little patches and, you know, knee pads and, you know, for just their safety, but they discarded them quite soon after that. And even the stabilizers, they removed quite fast. Kids adapt a lot more easily than adults. for them it's a natural skill, I think, to just learn anything. But we kept the helmets on and we've been riding ever since.
Let's talk about your gears. You know, I'm going to come back into now incorporating this into the urban fabric, but before we go into that, let's look at the basics. The gears, you have never come here without your gears. Even with your glasses on, you know, Wangui has always been very strict about her helmet. There's a whistle. Is it a whistle?
Yes.
Her jacket, very conspicuous. Please let us know why you are very serious about your gears.
So one of the reasons, and I always laugh at myself when I'm riding, I always go like, hey, I got kids, don't hit me, don't kill me.
Yes.
You have no excuse to hit me because I have the lights, I have the luminous jacket, I have the correct shoes. I mean, I match all my shoelaces. I make sure I am absolutely visible. I charge my lights and I keep them on most of the time.
Which lights is this you're talking about? You can just show us.
I have the helmet light.
Oh, amazing.
Which is here. So
I remember you showed me that last time as well. It's always fun to see
At some point, you can blink it when you just feel like you're in a dark place and it's getting late or very early in the morning like today. There is one attached to the bike, to the seat post, and now there's a light for the front. So all those are things, and I think for me it's very important to get as much gear as possible.
Okay.
So that you first clear that off, that I am safe to ride, I am visible, and you have no excuse to say you have not seen me. And then again, don't encroach into the main roads.
All right.
You know, just try stay as safe as possible and just be on the edge of the road. And I want to believe, because I'm a driver, I mean, I see cyclists all the time. So I want to believe if you're a keen driver and you're conscious of the cyclists, you will be able to give them space.
If you're conscious.
You have to be deliberate.
Okay.
I mean, I have driven a car longer than I have ridden a bike. And I have done long distance driving. And I have never hit a cyclist. Because you have to be conscious of anything that you see on the road. So, and most of them are not even in safety gears.
That's why I asked you about it.
Most of them are not even in safety gear. I mean, I do that because I always think they should be more visible, because not everybody is as keen as I am, because I am also a cyclist. That is why I'm able to, you know, be able to adjust the way I drive so that they can be able to have that space. A lot of people are thinking, what is he doing on the road? You know, he doesn't even pay for insurance. He doesn't even pay. But hey, we're living in one small world. What does it take to just move your car slightly to just let the cyclist pass? It takes a millisecond. So such things. And
I'm hoping to hear from everyone that's watching. It takes less than a millisecond to pave way, to respect the cyclists on the road. Of course, James Kenywa is responding on Facebook saying, cycling looks so fun, like in Nairobi is a mess. All right, and saying hii shamba yetu ya mawe doesn't accommodate bikers. I don't know, you want to respond to that? Seems to me like some reality. Salabs, of course, a great shout out via Twitter, has always made some noise about provisions. Let's share the road, let's respect cyclists. So James Kenywa, talking to us on Facebook, is saying cycling looks so much fun, like in Nairobi is a mess. And hii shamba yetu ya mawe doesn't accommodate bikers. How do you make it?
Yes, I have noticed, I mean, there are even pictures normally shared like in Kenya Cycling and a lot of other cycling groups, where you find that someone has, you know, designed a new feature on the road and completely blocked the cycling lane. So we normally have like, you know, urban furniture. You will find people have put chairs, you know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have benches for people. But I think you should be able to think about why you're putting the benches. You cannot have a cycling lane and then 2 years down the line you have benches on the same cycling lane. It beats the purpose of the cycling lane. You cannot have a column in the middle of a cycling lane. I mean, we cannot teleport. So the minute you get to the point where there's a column, you have to get off the bike, then you go around, and then it doesn't make sense. I think someone should really be sensitive when they're doing all these things. If you really want Nairobi to be a complete urban area, there has to be proper mixed mode of transport.
Tell us more. You know, you are on the urban planning.
Yes.
Tell us more on what then should be done in the city, because I know Kura Roads are watching, NTSA Kenya, people have made enough noise about it. Please maybe paint a proper picture on how, you know, you're not demanding, but you could rightfully, you know, let us know how then we should incorporate the cycling lanes for all of you.
Yes. I think for me, it's not just the cyclist, but I talk about mixed mode of transport.
Okay.
As a pedestrian, you should feel absolutely safe, and you should never feel that you have to walk on, you know, like a parking area, or you have to walk on the cycling lane. you should accommodate each the same way, because I've come from designing very small spaces, and I make sure that everything in that room that I design, I have thought about it. I think on a larger scale, when you're designing an urban area, you should put the same exact thought into it. You should design each and every particular space considering all the users. So whether you're a pedestrian, whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you're on a pram, whether you're a cyclist, whether you're a motorist, a learner, a pro driver, a lorry, there should be a space for you in the city, and there should be a way for you to just move. Either that, or it's not a functional urban area.
Or it's not a functional urban area. I don't know what your thoughts are. Please talk to me, Ian and the crew. I'm still waiting to hear from Wale Watu alikuwa critical mass. How was your experience? You feel better? Do you own a bike? We're going to come into the type of bikes. I wish you'd come with your bike in the studio. Last time we didn't get to actually see her cycle around the compound, but we would love to see, which type of bike she's actually using, why you chose it. But of course, some feedback again on Facebook, and ask as many questions as you can. Aren't you open for the question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And of course, Ian is here. Ian Slim Spanier saying Ian Slim is following. Good to see you. How are you? Robert Seda saying motorists should realize that we are humans and we have loved ones waiting for us back at home. Hashtag share the road. Hashtag my lane too.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about your type of the bike. Okay. Different types. Why are there so many?
There are so many types of bikes, but the three basic bikes that I will talk about is an MTB, which is a mountain bike, and a hybrid, and a road bike.
Those are the main three.
There's a new one since 2012 that is called a gravel bike.
All right, now I'm gonna give us a short breather.
Yes.
Breathe in a little bit. Hear from all of you. Tap a brother, wake up someone in the comment section. If they don't miss the type of bikes, if they're affordable, because that is where we all start from. People are afraid of, will I invest in this and not use it? We find out more after this short break on the Arrive Alive. Don't go too far away.
Grow your business, broadcast your sermon, share birthday wishes, make funeral announcements, produce adverts and documentaries, then book and advertise with us today by calling us on +254 700 893 542 700 893 542 or email us on sales@luke-up.tv.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optiven's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
Yeah.
Are you looking to turn your passion to purpose? Vera Beauty and Fashion College now brings you online classes at the comfort of your home. We are a TVET-approved institution with over 20 years experience in training competency-based courses in fashion design and creative arts, cosmetology, hairdressing, beauty therapy, interior design in soft furnishings, event decoration and flower arrangement, hospitality and catering, and training of trainers. To enroll, call us today on 0704 577 577 or visit our website at www.verabeautycollege.com. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a center of excellence.
Help me identify a beautiful womb. I never came across one till I got to Vera.
Welcome to Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. When you first come in, we will be happy to receive you at our reception, then proceed to our cozy and well-equipped accommodation facilities. We aim to provide our guests with a unique, comfortable, and worthwhile experience. Here at Look Up Guest House, we provide our guests with a continuous supply of room amenities. A cool environment for all your retreat activities.
Look Up Guest House, Retreat and Prayer Center. For reservation, contact us on info@lookupguesthouse.org or call us on 0746 788 707. Like, follow, subscribe, click the notification button. Join the Look Up TV movement now. Now.
Welcome back. This is the Arrive Alive. Talk to us throughout this conversation using the hashtag The Morning Drift on Facebook. We are currently live. Use the comment section properly. Ask as many questions as you can on matters road safety. Also give me updates on traffic as we are also assessing the situation at Kinoge this morning. But it's all about cycling. And of course, if you've always been under the fear or panic on whether to begin, today we're giving you the information that would help you to start, because the best thing to do something is to just start. All right. Now Wangui is here. Wangui, how are you again? Welcome back on set.
Thank you.
Apparently your baby has joined us.
Welcome.
We had to make sure, because we
Yes.
left it at what type of bikes are there, where there's so many, different varieties of
Yes.
bikes. And you were just mentioning a few. Then we thought, why not see your baby as well? And why you actually opted for her or him?
Yes.
Which one?
I think it's a she because she's a beauty.
Okay, so maybe start by talking to us about your baby
Yes.
and quite a relationship. It's really, really fascinating how you relate with your bike.
Yes.
And then tell us why you chose this one and other types of bikes really that are there.
So this is my third bike and probably my final bike.
Okay.
And if I was to get another bike, I would just get a higher version of the same bike. So this is a road bike. A road bike it's much more faster. It has slimmer tires.
Oh, yes.
The shifting of the gears, it has a lot more variations. So mine is an 8 at the back and 2 at the front, making it a 16-speed bike. It's very good for climbing hills. It's only 12 kgs.
Okay.
12 kgs is very light for a bike, considering my other one is about 16, 17.
That means you're really good on balance.
Very good on balance, very good on climbing, very good on speed. It's very aerodynamic. And before I got to know all this, I came from having just a bike that we lived by the ocean at that time, and it would always break down because it would get very rusty.
Okay.
And I always wondered why my bike, always has this noise, and I realized because it was a brand new Chinese bike, living by the ocean, then it was bound to get very rusty. So then I changed to an MTB XUK bike,
Okay.
which was all weather. It could just stay outside. And it was much faster. And that's when I started to understand about the gears, about the changing, about, And I loved it for many years until I went for an event with it. And everybody was zooming past me with these cool bikes. And I'm like, oh, I thought I had a bike. Until I was like, okay, so I need to get another bike.
Okay.
So I looked up, it was a bit expensive, so I saved up a bit, and then I finally got this one.
So expensive does, okay, I don't know, people always say cheap can be expensive. I'm not saying
I think
that
for
per
me,
se.
for me as a lady, that was a bit expensive because it was
Okay.
it was 140,000, and it took me a while to save it. My previous one was like 35,000. So
All
you can
right.
imagine from moving from 35 to 140, and I was like, oh my God. So there's no way you're going to pay that amount of money and leave your bike outside.
No way.
So I get home, it's either in the car or it goes into the house with me.
All right, all the motorists who have been trying to figure out why bikers and cyclists are equally on the road, respecting their lanes and that they are on their bikes for a reason, they have actually intentionally opted to be on those bikes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about other, bikes. You mentioned 3.
Yes.
Just tell us in detail again. Did they feature anywhere in your story?
Yes. So this is a road bike.
Yes.
This is like the ultimate bike for Tour de France, and just recently there was
Amazing.
Giro d'Italia. So it's a very good for road races. It's used by professionals. This is an aluminium one. So for me to be able to afford it at a cheaper price,
Yes.
which is 140, it had to have come from, it's a second hand. Otherwise, if it's a brand new bike, it's about 700,000, 500,000, which is like an arm and a leg. But they are being sold here in
Yes.
Kenya, and people buy them.
Okay.
And those recently they're made out of carbon fiber, which is a much lighter material, and it moves much faster.
Great.
But people have invested in those bikes, and even at the critical mass, you're going to see them, and you're going to and you're like, oh my gosh, and I thought I had a bike, So it's a passion.
Okay.
And I have seen even families, get bikes and get onto the road and race together, and I think it's a very beautiful way of doing things. As I told you, there are so many benefits of having these bikes. So you need to, if you're doing adventure, off-road, then you're going to get an MTB, which is a mountain bike. Now, the most recent bike, it's called a gravel bike. A gravel bike is a marriage between a road bike and an MTB. So like me right now, I have 2 bikes.
All
But
right.
if I had a gravel bike, I would only need 1. Because what they do is that they take the features of a mountain bike and the features of a road bike, and they designed a bike that can go off-road and can be on the road. That's a gravel bike. A hybrid, I have never used a hybrid.
Okay.
And I think if I knew more about a hybrid, then I would say, but it normally looks like a much lighter version of an MTB. So it depends with whether you're commuting to work, whether you're doing this as an adventure, whether you're doing this as a sports. So that is how you choose the right bike.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so it depends on why you are getting your bike.
Yes.
To start with. Now I can see here Mr. Woroteti saying my regards to all cyclists. I think you'll receive that on their behalf. James Kenya though, he's saying how much does a standard street bike cost? Of course you have mentioned.
Yes.
But a standard street bike, did you mention how
What
much?
is a standard street bike, if
Okay.
I could ask?
Okay, what is a standard street bike? James, what is a standard, street bike? That's what she has asked you. Maybe then that way we can answer.
Yes.
Anasema tutafika bei. Okay, he's actually responding to 140,000. Ni expensive kuliko nduthi.
So I think by the time you get there, you've gone through that whole process of buying the cheap one
Okay.
and seeing why you're graduating to another one. This one is low maintenance. I hardly have to use so much money to maintain it.
All right.
My cheapest of bikes, I had to be at the mechanic every single week. It would break down all the time.
All right.
It would break down, including the chain, including the gear set, including right about anything.
So it's not just expensive.
Yes.
There's intention, there's reason. And of course, he's saying the only bike on a journey BMX. Is there a bike?
There are BMXs, the very small bikes, the one. The guys, I don't know whether you've seen them, but they're used by young guys to, do a lot of stunts and, like up stunts and bunny hops and
Funny.
it's for fun. It's an absolute fun bike.
All right.
I'm not a stunt master, so I cannot be able I like my bikes being on the road.
So how convenient
No
is a stunt bike? Would you advise that someone gets that anyway?
Not for commute.
Okay.
Not for commute, for play. It's good for younger guys and also for guys who use it. And it's a career outside the country. So for guys who do that, because they have to have parks, they have to have beautiful places to do that, because it's more for stunts. I'm not much of a stunt person. I'm more of ride and go, have fun, have adventures,
Yes.
and go for events and races.
Amazing. And I know we are looking forward to the next event and race by Critical Mass, perhaps in June. And I want to hear your last, closing remarks on really, inculcating,
Yes.
recycling
Yes.
into our culture, looking at traffic, etc. And being a woman, like you said, you're on the bike, but you're like, please don't hit me. I have a family. I have children. I have to arrive alive. Because in your helmet, I don't know if if they can really figure if you're a man or a woman, especially with your jackets.
They cannot.
But what would be your closing remarks? And you can speak to the motorists today. That camera right there,
Yes,
your own words
yes.
as Wangui as we close. I know they will appreciate that.
Exactly. And I think it's good that I'm coming from being both sides, as a motorist and as a cyclist. And I know you can deliberately choose to, take care of everybody on the road. I mean, the same way we take care of even animals. I mean, when I'm cruising at high speeds driving and I see a dog a mile away, I'll start to slow down. I mean, when we're driving long distances, we see all sorts of animals at night. I don't just cruise saying, hey, giraffe, get off the road, it's my time. I mean, it's the time for the giraffe and the animals to cross the road. So you have to be deliberate when you're doing your drives. You have to be deliberate when you're doing your walks. You have to be deliberate when I have a 2-year-old and I make sure he doesn't cross the road until he checks right, left, until I go, hey, you can't go right, left forever. You have to be deliberate. You have to make a decision that, you know what, this city is not just my city.
Okay.
This city, we are so many. We have animals, we have people who are thinking about something else. So you can't just say, hey, they should have seen the car. Because everybody is thinking about moving around. So I think we should all be considerate. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to make a living. We're all trying to grow. We're all trying to raise our families. We're all trying to just move about this beautiful city of ours.
And we're all just trying to arrive alive.
Exactly. We all want to arrive alive. One last thing. One of the joys that I have had of cycling, I remember when I got the bicycle the first time, I had no idea where I was getting the bicycle. But then I started getting into these events where you challenge yourself to do 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, something. So you get to have these small things.
Congratulations.
It's not winning, but it's completing. And it's written 65 kilometers, finisher. So I have 3 of these for 3 events. But you get to hang them and you go like, yay.
So just like the runners get medals, you have something to also keep you on toes and appreciate cycling. Thank you very much for being a practical, evidence. I want to say that, you actually cycled here. You said a bit of it on the matatu. And just the fact that the matatu can accommodate the cyclist or with the bike, that's also fascinating. I want to appreciate the matatu industry for that kind of patience and that accommodation. But thank you so much for coming through, Wangui.
Thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to seeing you a lot more.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, Ian anasema Black Mamba labda ni 10K kwa hizo standard bike streets. Wanasema ni Black Mamba, the fast. But of course, Pius Mukuji saying niko na yangu Ram 5 nilinunua 15. 15,000. Okay, so cyclists woke up to support this conversation. Please let us know what you think. Rich Wangui Ngugi can find you on social media.
Yes.
And we're leaving those, of course, tagged at Lookup TV across all social media platforms. Ask more questions and who you want to see next. But for now, allow me to close this and see you on the big conversation. Don't go too far away.